Okay, at this point, I think we all know the story of Oppo Find N. All the big YouTubers have done the review already, and I suppose you know pretty much everything you want to know about this set. And if you want to listen to a different hand-on experience, now we're gonna present what we have in our hands. The box actually looks very premium and decent. All the cables, the charging brick, and all this literature, they're all packed very well, and so this is the phone we have been expected for all this time. A foldable Oppo phone with a big inner display and this incredibly invisible crease in the middle. And look at this display, it's just huge. This is a 7.1-inch 1080p 120Hz AMOLED display. If we don't show the crease zooming in, you're not gonna tell that this is a foldable screen at all. It just looks like a pad. And this is one of the software features they have been talking about the most, the split screen. And to be honest, it's just like using two phones at the same time, and you can adjust the size of each application anytime you want, and you can just interact with them at the same time. That's kind of dope. The build quality is definitely very premium. It's a very decent and solid metal build, and the camera bump is not that obvious as well. And the front screen, that's also a 1080p 60Hz display, and this screen size is totally convenient for one-hand operation. Operating the phone with only one hand is very handy with the front screen, but when you're trying to open it and try to operate it with the inner screen, it kinds of becoming a very painful process. But when you're not opening up though, the screen size and everything, using them with one hand is like more than enough. Very smooth, very comfortable. But when you're opening the inner screen, then you have to use two hands at the same time, or it's just very difficult to navigate through the screen. And look at the crease at the middle of the screen. It's just barely perceivable. And I've heard some of the people are very concerned about the thickness of the phone, because it feels like operating two phones at the same time, but I didn't have any issue with this thickness. Probably someone who has a short fingers may see this as a trouble, but for me, I didn't feel anything at all. But if you are wondering that this thickness and the size, did it bring anything to the battery capacity? The answer is not really. The battery life is still the same as these average normal phones. So, except from the screen, I think the size, the bigger phone size and the thickness, it's not bringing any other advantage so far. And unlike the Samsung Fold Z, the little gap, the little space when you are folding the phone, this one doesn't have it. It just completely sticks together, and that just saves a lot of space in your pocket, and it just looks better as well. I remember they were claiming that this screen can be folded over 200,000 times. I don't know how did they come up with this number, but that's what they claim. Yeah, the most important thing about this foldable phone is it can deliver you a bigger screen, and the screen is bigger, but it doesn't necessarily be good, because most of the content we consume is not made with this kind of ratio. Sometimes it feels like it's just the same size as a normal phone. But however, when you just go back in the old times and play these kind of classic and old cartoons with 4:3 ratio, then this is something you can really brag about if you own this phone. With this huge screen and with this ratio aspect, this watching experience is something you can really enjoy. Of course, these are just a few thoughts we had while we are playing with this phone with just a few hours. We're gonna be spending more time than this, and full review is going to be out in a short while. If you want to know more about this phone from a different perspective, then hit the subscribe button to keep an eye out. And for now, I'm just gonna watch some Tom and Jerry.